Hello, everybody, and welcome to our second annual USF MLIS State of the Program annual meeting. Tonight, we're just going to kind of talk about what we've been doing this past year, different aspects of the program, students, faculty, and all of that. And you can actually see presentation outline. Um, I'm just offering this introduction. My name is Dr. Natalie Taylor, and I am the current MLIS program director and an associate professor at the school. We'll also be doing presenting two awards, which is one of my favorite things to do: the Outstanding Student Award and the Outstanding Alum Award. We'll be talking about communications and outreach, things that we've done over the past year. Tonight, we have a very special faculty spotlight of someone who has been doing a number of different things with professional organizations. So I'm really pleased to be able to talk about Dr. Reyes is her work that she's been doing with the professional community over the past year. We'll also be, I'll be providing a SOLIS update that the current president of SOLIS, has given me a lot of information to talk about. They've been doing so much work this fall. And then we'll briefly be talking a little bit about future plans and initiatives and things of that nature. We will have some time at the end for questions, feedback, anything like that. If you do have a question as we're going on, feel free to put it in the chat box. David is going to be monitoring that, and we'll make sure that we circle back around to that question at the end. All right, so introductions, I already said who I am. We also, I think Jim is here, Dr. Andrews. He is our highly capable, I think the official title is an associate director of the School of Information, and of course the former director and also former director of the MLIS program. So big shoes to fill, but he is always around to answer questions, thank goodness. And then Randy, Dr. Borum could not be here tonight, but he is the current director of the School of Information. So it's a great team. And I haven't put their pictures here. I probably should have, but we also have a wonderful staff. And David, I think you're our representative here tonight. David, can you pop in and tell me your new title? It's very recent, so I want to make sure I don't get it wrong.
Yes. So my new title is the Department Operations Manager.
Thank you. And we'll be hearing more from David later on when he talks about the communications and marketing, because he has taken on that as well. But we do have a wonderful staff all the way around. Alexis and Sydney and Mallory and Chloe. So you probably will hear their names and come across and interact with them if you're interacting with the school at all. So I do want to give them all shout outs. All right. So now, like I said, for one of my favorite things to do, because we really want to highlight our wonderful alums and our wonderful students. This first award is the Gene Key Gates Distinguished Alumni Award, and this was named in honor of Professor Emerita of the same name. Dr. Gates wrote respective librarianship texts such as The Guide to the Use of Libraries, Information Science, and Introduction to Librarianship. And this award has been presented annually to alumni who have outstanding professional career achievements since 1993. The long tradition of the many wonderful alumni we have. Celia C. Perez is the author of The First Rule of Punk, a 2018 Boston Globe Hornbook honoree, a Bureau Belpré author honor book for narration, and a winner of the 2018 Tomas Rivera Mexican American Children's Book Award, Strange Birds, A Field Guide to Ruffling Feathers, and Tumble. When not writing about quirky kids who break rules, she also works as a community college librarian at Harold Washington College, one of the city colleges of Chicago, where she spent the past 20 years and currently serves as the department chairperson. So she's not busy at all. She's also the former co-chair of Reforma's Children and Young Adult Services Committee, served on the 2014 Pura Belpré Award Committee, and has written and reviewed for the Hornbook magazine. She's originally from Miami and is a graduate of the University of Florida and us, University of South Florida. So we are thrilled to present this award to her tonight. She couldn't make it, but she sends her appreciation. She was very excited to hear from hear about this. As you can imagine, she's got a number of things going on. Regardless, we just want to express our sincere excitement and congratulations to her for all the hard work she's done in the profession, her accomplishments as an author, and we're just very excited to have her as one of our wonderful alumni. And then the next award, we do have the person here. I don't know, Maria, if you want to give a wave, but Maria is our wonderful outstanding student for this year. She is, as you can see here, one of our wonderful current students. It's presented annually to a student who's demonstrated outstanding academic and extracurricular achievements that serve as a role model for all information science students. She's in her final semester, yay, congratulations to that, in the MLIS program. She served as the secretary and president of the Student Organizations of Library and Information Science, or SOLIS, providing opportunities for students to engage with each other and establish professionals in the field. In addition, she co-moderated USF's prestigious Alice G. Smith lecture, Changing the Face of Librarianship, Reforma, and Library Services to Latino Communities in 2021, and did a wonderful job at that. She is drawn to libraries to help children and families enrich their lives and promote diversity and inclusion. She received the Patricia Andrew Cohn Endowed Scholarship during her first semester in the program, and also a Reforma de Florida stipend to attend the fourth National Joint Council of Librarians of Color, JCLC, which was rescheduled and will now be held in 2023. She spent the last decade working in international education and youth services after graduating from the University of Florida. So, congratulations, Maria. Thank you for coming and thank you for so much, all your hard work that you've done. In your time with the program, you've left your mark for sure. And I know many of us have been lucky enough to have you in class and to work with you as a student in the various professional organizations that are listed here. So, congratulations. And again, thank you for coming. Now, with that, moving on, we'll talk about systematic planning. So, much less exciting, but still very important, particularly as we move into the next 2 years, which I'll get to in a minute. We are heading into our accreditation period, which, as any of you know who've worked with ALA, happens every 7 years for ALA accredited programs. So, a lot of the systematic planning we do is focused around our mission, which I'm not going to read to you because it's here on the slide, and it would be terribly boring if all I did was read off the slides to you. But I did want to put it on here because it is something that we keep as a guide to make sure that our program level learning outcomes, our assignments, our core courses, just really all of our push as faculty and staff that we try to kind of organize around. And then along with that are our core values, which advocacy, promotion of intellectual freedom, literacy, information access, high quality, accessible education programs that are really preparing people to go out in the field. We are a professional program and we're really proud of that. Um, Likewise, we work to bridge the gap between research and practice. And we encourage our students to do that as well. That's not just something that we do as researchers through, research assignments in class, through independent studies, working with former students even. We really do try to encourage the connections between research and practice. And then meaningful collaborations with community partners. And that comes in a variety of different ways, whether it be outreach, just going to programs, whether it be, doing research in the community, having community speakers come in to talk to our students, and, having a wonderful cadre of fantastic adjuncts that come in and teach for us, a couple of whom are here tonight. So just shout out to Barbara and Alicia. Um, so we hope that what we've been doing and what I'll be presenting in the coming few slides really do show that we are trying to work within these core values that you see here. And to that point, we have a variety of different assessment and evaluation metrics that we do work to make sure and to check ourselves that we're actually meeting those goals. We have several surveys: new student survey, mid-program student survey, exit surveys for students, alumni surveys, and employer surveys. And Denise Sheriff, who couldn't, she's not here tonight, but in her capable hands, she's worked out a really wonderful schedule for getting these sent out regularly, and making sure that we are regularly evaluating them and the comments and things that we're getting to come back in. We're actually doing complete faculty reviews of the surveys, making sure that they are actually measuring what we want them to measure. And Aparna, who is here tonight, um, and who actually was also our Outstanding Student Award winner last year, but she's been working with us to create these really great rubrics and to have surveys of the surveys to send out to faculty members, again, just as a check to make sure that we're asking the right questions. And then this is just an example from the 2021 exit survey. So of course you can imagine we have tons of data, but these are just a couple of data points that 113 MLIS students completed their programs in 2021, and 73 participated, which is a response rate of 65%, which is actually pretty good, particularly for students who are leaving the program, and there's really no reason why they have to fill it out. But 97.2% of respondents indicated that the curriculum prepared them for an entry-level professional position, and 100% of respondents indicated that they can assess the library community's information needs. Both, again, which I thought I chose these because I think they do demonstrate straight to the values that we're trying to get in our program. So we're really proud of the work that our students are doing, and hope that as they go out into the field that they've gotten what they wanted to get out of our program as they leave. We have helped. One of the things we did, I covered this in a previous annual program, but for anybody who wants to hear it again, we shifted over um, from a test, a formal kind of comprehensive exam at the end of the program a few years ago, to e-portfolios. We are continually working to improve this as a ending metric to make sure that they've students have actually learned what we wanted them to learn in the program. You can see here that there's a process that we work with students from the very first class they take in the program, making sure that they know that they're going to be thinking about the artifacts that they do in the class as a part of a holistic picture of what they're getting. And we are working right now to make sure that the way that we review these portfolios as advisors, all of our faculty members are advisors. And, we've actually changed the review metric to where it's now a 1 to 4 scale, and in a variety of different metrics for assessing the various aspects of the portfolio, just so we can really get to what an exemplary portfolio looks like, what a passing portfolio looks like, and then what, something, in what areas are students maybe not quite reaching the goal, which I can say that those are very few and far between, which is a good sign. So that's something that we have implemented within the past, I guess, 2 semesters. And then we also do a faculty-wide review of of 20% of the portfolios that are randomly chosen, just again to make sure that we're all assessing the same way. And Denise again comes in and she reviews all of our answers for the reviews of those 20% of portfolios, to make sure to see where the discrepancies are, how people are judging different aspects differently than others, to make sure that everyone's getting the same kind of assessment. We also have a really fantastic advisory council to help with systematic planning. Their mission is to support the faculty, staff, and students by advising on curricular and outreach activities. We've had, over the past couple of years, a number of specific goals that we've been working with them on, which is looking at the core curriculum, feedback on our communication, and an increased focus on mentoring. You can see here, this is a screenshot from our MLIS Canvas platform. And one of the things that we've been working on as far as our curriculum goes with over the past year is forming these pathways. They're not certificates, they're not formal in any way. They don't end up on the student's degree program, but what they are is faculty members with a different expertise in different areas of librarianship have come up with a collection of classes, a collection of electives that will supplement the core, that we think would complement each other to create a good pathway for students to take if they're interested in a specific area of librarianship. So, for example, if you're interested in health science librarianship, you might take these, this set of core, or this core courses in this set of electives. Um, our advisory board has been working with us to do interviews about 45 minutes long. And, we have, I'm going to go ahead and slip to the next slide, fantastic members from all various types of librarianship. And we've had people come in and do these interviews, which have been saved and posted along with the portfolio classes. And our advisory board members talk about what they do and, on a day-to-day basis. They talk about, um, how they got to where they got to where they are in their career. And we're really lucky to have such a fantastic group of people advising us. I should say also a shout out to Solis and Maria specifically. They did a lot of work with us last year on producing these videos, and actually ran the interviews with the advisory board members who participated then. So it was really excellent to see the interaction between our students and our outstanding alumni who have come back to advise us. So as far as curriculum goes, I mentioned a couple of things that we're doing with the pathways. Um, a few specific goals for the coming year, things we're working on right now. I think I mentioned last year that we eliminated our certificates. We had 3 or 4, and we did that a few years ago for a number of reasons, low enrollment. But the biggest reason was that the office that we had to work with at USF had pretty stringent rules for which courses could be included. You basically couldn't sub out classes. If they were listed as part of the certificate, those were the classes that had to be taken. And it was kind of a whole process to get them switched out. Which at the time we were going through some changes in faculty members. Courses that we used to offer were no longer being offered, and it was difficult to match up. A student would start the certificate and not necessarily be able to finish it. So we eliminated those, and now we're kind of going back and starting from scratch, which I think ultimately, once we get done with the process, will make for a better certificate program and probably encourage more interest in our current students. And we're starting with the school library certificate. It's something that's been requested from the school districts we work with, specifically Hillsborough County. A lot of those students come in and only take a certain number of classes that are required by their district. They don't take the full degree program. So the certificate gives them something that they can show, that they've taken these 6 classes, which again is what's required by the district, and that they have something to show for it other than their own knowledge and edification. Um, Diane, she's here tonight. Hi, Diane. She's been working with me, and we've been meeting with stakeholders from nearby school districts. We've met with 2 new incoming administrators from Pasco. They're revitalizing their school library program, and we've been working with them to try to get an idea of where they're at, how we can help them, grow that program. And of course, again, our contacts with Hillsborough. A lot of the other local school districts are some of the school library programs are in a bit of a state of flux because of certain education laws that have been passed by the state over the past year. So it's an exciting time to be working on this, and I think we're really getting a lot of community input, and hopefully we'll be able to give some help to some of these districts. We also we're doing we have a plan for review of the basic technical course that we offer. Again, Diane and also Rich Austin, they're working on reworking this course, figuring out kind of what we want the basic thrust of that class to be, and how we can design our other technical courses to build on that, and also how we can better direct students to which technical course, which level they need to be at as they come into the program or build their skills. We've been working on removing prerequisites from courses that no longer need them to make scheduling easier for students. And I should say, Randy, Dr. Borum did the yeoman's work on that while I was on leave last spring. So props to him. He's not here, but he did a lot of work on that. And then we have also been working to get caught up on kind of a backlog of our core course registration wait lists. Again, during that period of faculty turnover, we had gotten into sort of a cycle of our core courses continually filling immediately, and having some, to juggle some of our students who are trying to graduate. And David and Alexis worked with me. We figured out kind of a plan to do priority registration. It's a whole, a process that starts a month before registration, but it does make sure that all of our graduating students get into the classes they need to be in before they graduate without having to add on additional students over the caps. And the good news is that some of those core courses we are finally getting caught up on. Some of this has been Jim and Randy working with us to make sure that we have additional sections of courses available to offer. Some of it has just been Alexis's hard work in directing students to which classes they need to be taking. And overall, it's just it's a good sign, I think, that our advising and also our course load ratio to students is working out better. So, yay. um, we are planning for the coming year, complete reviews of our core, and also working in some accessibility reviews, making sure that we have universal design elements built into our classes, and then also making sure that we're aligned with the Equality Matters program that the entire university is under. And that's making sure that all online courses meet a certain standard of delivery. So that's for all of our classes, not just core, but we do have a specific focus on the core for the next couple of semesters. We have Dr. Vanessa Reyes, who has shared updates from her wonderful work with these organizations, the Florida Library Association, the Florida Libraries Journal, and Beta Phi Mu. So she took on the role of the USF board representative for the Florida Libraries Association last spring. And has really gone above and beyond. This is a role that the board carves out for us so we can go and sit in and find out what's going on. It's one of the most influential professional organizations in the state, so we feel it's really important for us to be involved, and she's done a great job with that. Aside from that, or along with that, she also decided to take on the work as the editor-in-chief of Florida Libraries, which is huge. It's one of That's okay, David. Thank you. It's one of those really fabulous professional journal, and she's got so many exciting things that she's doing as part of that. And then she's the director at large for Beta Phi Mu International Honor Society, which really only scratches the surface of what she's been doing, but these are the things we're focusing on. So with FLA, they had their 2023 legislative platform, Strong Libraries, Strong Communities. And Vanessa shared that with students, with the faculty. I believe it's on their website if you want to go individually and check that out. But we also have been talking about, hopefully, we are actually talking today about hopefully getting together a cohort of students who we can encourage to go up to the legislative session in March, to extend that work of advocating for libraries and all the work that we do. And that day is March, or I guess 2 days, March 21st to 22nd in Tallahassee. And then we also, she has formed new partnerships with Florida Libraries, the Division of State Libraries, the Florida Book Awards, Florida Humanities, also the Florida Center for the Book. And they're going to be providing really cool columns in upcoming issues. The overarching goal is that it will document all things Florida libraries, including multi-type library cooperatives. There is a committee that is working on the FLA archives, and so the journal should be accessible in the USF archives along with past FLA presidential papers. And she's working with the new FLA executive director to make that possible, which this is such a wonderful, it both makes really important history accessible to all of Florida, Florida Library Association members, but it also is so cool that she's doing this and as USF as the home. So we're really thrilled with that. It makes us look good, and it's also providing a really good service. So thank you for that, Vanessa. Um, And then Beta Phi Mu International Honor Society. So she's the chapter outreach chair. She's working to plan the 75th annual celebration, which is coming up next year. And that's going to take place at the ALA Chicago Annual Conference. We also want to encourage, if anyone is not a member of Beta Phi Mu, to join as a professional member coming up sometime over the next year. So that's just, like I said, a brief overview of what Vanessa's been doing. But and I mentioned she is our faculty advisor for our student group as well, and it's just such important work that I think is hidden a lot of times. Um, just even the legwork she's done in making sure they're set up with a website and set up with being, officially connected to the university. It's it's a lot of hard work, and we want to recognize that. So thank you again, Vanessa, for all of this and for sharing all these important updates tonight. Yay, Vanessa. Um, And now I'm going to turn it over to you, David.
Good evening, everyone. My name is David Chappell, and I'm the Department Operations Manager for the School of Information. Tonight, I just want to talk with you a little bit about some of the things that SI has done over the last year and some of our future goals in regards to marketing communications. The goals currently for SI marketing is to accomplish two things. Firstly, to maintain community engagement through events specific to library and information professionals. And secondly, to grow our intel studies and cybersecurity intelligence and information security programs. We have ended up shifting quite a bit away from recruitment for students for the LIS programs for a lot of different reasons, but primarily because we are at a point where we've essentially reached capacity. And as a result of that, we've also had to shift our marketing goals and how we maintain our presence in the communities. Through these goals, we hope to elevate the department and programs under the USF brand. We started with a redesign of our website during summer 2023. This started out as a very small project where I thought it was just going to be updating a few pages that needed to be updated, and it ultimately turned into a complete web design revamp. But it is now much easier for people to find and navigate the website. And it also allows us to show how projects that we are doing are actually impacting our local community. And you can visit our website at usf.edu/SI. We can go to the next slide now. We were able to hire 2 graduate assistants to assist with our marketing efforts. The flyers that you see in front of you were actually created by those students. Each flyer was designed with a specific audience in mind. The first one is directed specifically to library and media specialists. The second is for our master's in library and information science students. And then the third is for our intel and cyber programs. We can go to the next slide. We also worked on creating new swag items to give out at events such as lanyards and pins. We are in the process of getting more items. I'm trying to get rid of our old mugs so that I can order new ones. And then we'll also be looking at purchasing things like t-shirts and pins and bookmarks, those types of things that people might find useful, especially notepads. I know those have been really popular in the past as well. Through the events that we have attended or sponsored, we've been able to make sure that we've remained active in the field with major organizations such as MLIS, which we recently sponsored. That is the lanyard you see on the far right-hand side. And the lanyard that's on the left is actually the new lanyard that we just recently had created, and the pin is our new pin that we had created. All right, and we can go to the next slide. This is my favorite slide. So on the left-hand side, you will see a list of events that we have attended over the past year or will be attending in the near future. It has been a huge endeavor from everyone in the School of Information to make these events happen through presenting research or representing the department in some way. All right, on the left-hand side is a list of all of the events that we've attended. And then moving forward, a large part of the efforts will be put towards the 50th anniversary event, and we will be sharing details on our website in the near future in regards to that. On the right-hand side is a sneak peek of our ad for the JCLC conference. As many of you know, JCLC was rescheduled for early 2023, and we wanted this to be a big surprise. I've been keeping this under my hat for so long, but this ad in particular, we wanted to welcome JCLC to Tampa Bay, but we also wanted to show our appreciation to one of our adjuncts, Alicia Long, who was the 2022 recipient for the Arnulfo D. Trejo Librarian of the Year Award. And so this was just a small way for us to show our appreciation to her in that endeavor. I also want to give a special thank you to Sydney Schermerhorn, who is one of the grad assistants. All of the graphics, aside from the ad for JCLC that you've seen tonight, those are all her creations, and all the work and kudos should go to her in regards to that. And then I also want to send out a huge thank you to Mallory Moxley, who has been assisting us with copy editing for marketing communications as well. And I will go ahead and turn it back over to Natalie.
Thank you, David. Really, I mean, you can tell how much he's been doing, and how much his team has been doing. They shouldn't dismiss everybody's work on this, but it's just really been, it's been a big year for us for providing sponsorships and things like that, which we've been thrilled to be able to support so many wonderful events and organizations, and a lot of work goes into providing support for that. So thank you so much, David, for all your work. On that and all the things you're doing elsewhere too. He also makes sure everybody gets paid. All our GAs get paid. So that's a pretty important task too. um, I wanted to highlight this slide right here. We recently had the Alice G. Smith lecture. It was rescheduled after the hurricane, but if you were not able to attend, David has made sure that the video is up on our YouTube channel, and you can find the link on our website as well. We had Mika Slaughter Nelson um, presented Modern Marvels Mining Gems to Manifest Dreams. And it was just a really wonderful talk about kind of how she sees the work that librarians do. I mean, it's very uplifting, and it made me, again, really excited about being part of this profession. So be sure to check that out if you can, if you weren't able to join us for it. I wanted to talk briefly about our student profile. Thank you, Alexis, again for pulling these numbers. We have here the admitted versus enrolled. So you can see these are pretty consistent across every semester. There are really no surprises there. Also, a lot of times students who are admitted in one semester will roll over to the next semester. So, even 86 versus 64, even of those, the 22 who don't enroll, oftentimes they'll come in and enroll the next semester. So we're pretty pleased with these numbers. It's been working out really well in terms of the capacity that we have right now. The retention rate, you can see here, there was some talk last year about concern a little bit about the 67% retention during the 2019-2020 academic year. As most of us can remember very clearly what happened in spring of 2020, we thought that COVID and the pandemic and all of that was a reason why that number was a little bit lower than previous years. And indeed, I believe that is the cause, because 2020 to 2021, you can see it's rebounded and it's right back actually a little bit higher than it was even before that year. So that was something that we specifically wanted to look at when we were going over our numbers from last year to this year. And yeah, we're proud that that has come back up. As far as our race and ethnicity profile, this is something that we could still use a lot of work on. Now these two charts, they're not comparing exactly the same things. What we pull these numbers from, it's kind of a point in time snapshot. So the total number of students, if it was before or after add drop, it kind of depends on how many students are registered at any one point whenever the data was pulled. But it does give us a fair, idea of the distribution of students and diversity of students we have. And you can see here it's mainly white, with the Hispanic ethnicity trailing and coming along as the next most most represented, but is still significantly lower than we would like it. And just to put these numbers in context, this is not an excuse, but this is a problem that's field wide. You can see here from the Elise Statistical Report from 2021. Again, this is something that's happening across librarianship, but we would like to be at the forefront of changing that. And that was one of our goals last year. It is one of our goals this year. One of the things we did purposefully over the past year, which David in that list that he featured, we tried really hard to make a conscious effort to both be involved with and support a number of organizations that support uh, future librarians of color or current librarians of color, and to make sure that we're supporting our current students to be involved in those professional organizations to try to make sure that they know that there's a place for them in our profession. Um, as we get more faculty, which I'll talk about that in a little bit, we probably will be able to do a little bit more recruitment because we'll have more capacity to have more students. And one of the first things we want to do is make sure that we're reaching out to places where we want to make sure that we're making sure that we are recruiting a diverse group of students. So that's another step that we are working toward. And then finally, and this is something we hear from our current students too, is that funding is always an issue. And so I've been working with David to make sure that our scholarships are featured up front, and that we're also providing more information to our students about other university scholarships that are available, so that students who would like to join the program but aren't necessarily able to because of money, that they know that at least there's some support available. And that's something that I know as we go out into the community and talk about the program, we've been making sure to highlight that as well. So um, again, diversity comes in many forms: socioeconomic, race and ethnicity, et cetera, et cetera. And we are trying to reach students from across the board because we think it makes a better program. So that's just some of what we've been doing. So these next few slides were developed by Kiera, who is our current SOLIS president. I don't think she was able to be here tonight, but she put all this together for me. So the Student Organizations of Library and Information Science is SOLIS. It's our student group that is the umbrella for the American Library Association and Special Libraries Association school student groups. And as I've already mentioned, Vanessa very capably has overseen and really revitalized these groups. They do a ton. They provide a platform for students to connect and collaborate, which can be difficult with an online program. They encourage involvement in professional LIS organizations. They host guest speakers, and they share important information regarding our program and the field. They have 86 current members and counting, which again is a very big accomplishment. We're very proud of those numbers, considering we almost had a non-existent student group about 3 years ago. I mean, the pandemic kind of threw a kink in all of that, I think, for everyone, but they've done a fabulous job getting students to join. They've done a number of events. Even just last night, they had a book talk. They've I think last year did a scholarship panel, and as I mentioned, have been helping out with various events. The Alice G. Smith lecture last year, and some of these, advisory council interviews as well. So much more than just that, but those are just some of the events that they've done over the past couple of years. So we're very proud of them. And you can see here this QR code. They have events, monthly newsletters, and more if you would like to check out what they've been doing. Is there email? All right, so finally, I'm going to wrap this up, and I think good. Yes, we will actually have time for questions this time. So future plans and initiatives. As I mentioned, we're doing this review of core courses. That's our main focus for curriculum over the next year. For diversity, I said that we've been supporting professional organizations, and like I said, we want to increase the diversity profile of our admitted students, and we have a couple of different ways, as I mentioned, that we plan to do that. The exciting thing that could help us actually support more students in growing numbers is that we do have an addition of two MLIS faculty lines this year, which we are very grateful to the college for acknowledging our growing program and our need for that. One of those is an assistant faculty position, and it has been posted. We are currently asking for applications. So if anybody knows of anybody who's looking for a tenure track job, and has um, an interest in all things libraries. We don't actually have we're looking for a great candidate first and foremost. We do have a list of areas that we kind of have highlighted that we are in need of an expert in, but we really do just want a candidate who's going to be a great researcher and a great teacher to our students. And then we also actually, this is very exciting, have an endowed line for an associate or full professor coming in. And this is in partnership with Sarasota. It was a result of a very generous grant that was given to the Sarasota campus. And it is actually expanding our school. It will be the first time that we have expanded across to another campus. They'll be housed in our department, but it really does go one step further to that one USF goal that the university is working toward to make sure that we're represented on every campus. And then David alluded to the 50th anniversary event. Next year is our 50th anniversary of accreditation with the American Library Association. So we'll be having a big kind of party featuring a speaker and food and lots of interaction with alums and students and faculty members, which will be held in October, November, somewhere around there, 2023. We're still firming up that date. Um, but we'll also be doing a few other things, hopefully featuring some historical pictures on our website if we can figure out how to work within the USF functionality to be able to do that. And then we also will, of course, be having the annual Alice G. Smith lecture, which we hope to represent the idea of where we've been and where we're going. And if you have other ideas for things that we could be doing over that very exciting year, we would love for you to pass them along. But at the very least, we would hope that all of you would be able to attend the big event celebrating the history of our school. And then that will all be leading up to accreditation, which we're in the process of planning and working toward now, but we will have the official site visit in spring of 2024. And it can be exciting. It's a good time to reflect on all of the things that we've been doing and where we see ourselves going in the future. So it's kind of all coming together at a good time for reflection and planning. So with that, I think that's my portion of the evening. Thank you all so much for coming, and we will open it up to questions. All right, so if you do have questions, comments, feel free to throw your hand up. You can also type it in the chat box. We'll make sure we monitor that as well. And Aparna, if you want to be our first speaker and tell us a little bit about where you were, not to put you on the spot, if you would rather not, that's okay. But we would all love to hear it if you are willing to share.
Uh, I am absolutely willing, delighted to share because it was a lot of fun. And hopefully I don't talk too much. And can you hear me? I'm just checking.
Yep.
Okay. So this was a site visit to Arizona State University in Tempe, Arizona, as a part of the ARL Kaleidoscope Diversity Scholarship. I went with other members in my cohort. There's about 18 of us. It was a transformative experience. One of the things that I really got from it was how important community is. And I'm not sure if that's normally something that's brought up in the context of academic librarianship, but with Arizona State University, they're doing a lot of work to connect with their communities, especially with the Native American communities on their land, on the land. And so our trip started with a grounding experience at the Otham Peeposh Native American Community Garden, and we went to the reservation and spoke to representatives of the these two communities there. So that was really exciting, and to see in the context of librarianship, because they in ASU they have within the library they have the Labriola National American Indian Data Center with like librarians working there, working um, with the communities in the area. Another thing that was really part of this was the community-driven archives. And one of the a statistic that came up was the fact that about 40% of the people in Arizona are BIPOC, so Black, Indigenous, people of color, and or queer. But only 0 to 2% are represented in the archives. So there's doing a lot of they're doing a lot of work to try to get involved with the community in their archival work. And we got to talk to the archivists there. It was amazing, and I really hope to bring a lot of that, I hope, into my work in the future. So yeah, thank you.
That's incredible. Thank you, Aparna. And thank you for being such a good representative of our school. We're so proud of you. Does anybody else have any feedback or questions? I am seeing that there's a little message that's popping up that says some people in the chat are outside of our organization and the chat may not be actually working for them. So if you're encountering that problem, feel free to speak out. Or if there are things that you would like to contact with us, we are always happy to get an email. And for those of you who might have watched this after tonight, thank you for sitting through this. Hopefully you've learned some things. But the offer does still stand that if you have any questions or feedback for us, we would love to hear from you. You can either email David, me, really any of the faculty members who are here in attendance that you can see on your screen. But all of our all of our contact information is on the website, which has been so organized so well by David that you'll be able to find it no problem. But I think if nobody else has anything, we will go ahead and wrap this up. I deeply appreciate all of you guys for attending, and I'm so excited that I get to work with all of you and carry on the wonderful history of our program. So thanks, everybody.